A warm welcome in today's episode. And I want to bring on the table this idea that self-care, a holistic health care, can be effortless and can be taught in such a way that once you have the blueprint in mind and down into your bones, so to speak, it's actually really easy. And I'll explain why. I'll explain the scientific background, the way God created our brain, and scientists are discovering that can be so helpful to you. And because there are problems when we trying to do self-care, holistic and care of the body, of emotions, of our thoughts, of our soul. There's so many things we can add to our to-do list. And you probably have already a busy to-do list and you want to accomplish so much in your vocation, for your family, for your work. And there is a way that we can do this regeneration, this self-care in such a embodied way that you could have the wisdom to really regenerate all the time. And I'll tell you a quick story. When I was in middle school, I loved math. And one of the things that my teacher said at the time, and I really took it to heart, is if you're trying to solve a problem, sleep on it, and you don't know the answer, just sleep on it. And I would go to bed trying to solve problems, which I had no idea what the solutions are. But instead of feeling defeated about it, my teacher trained me to think, no, 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 there's something else in your brain that will help you. If you just go to bed with that intention and sleep on it, something will happen. And I've tried it over and over and over. Now, not every time I would get the solution by the next morning when my homework was due, but very often. So I'll talk about this power and I'll tell you more stories how I use this in medical school and also how we can use it to train ourselves to do the regeneration in the right way. I've been practicing this way of engaging my subconscious and my silent part of the brain that kind of sleeps during the day, so to speak, but is very active in the background, that I got to regenerate and accomplish so many things. And I want this for you. I want you to uncover this power so you can use it, because ultimately, if you're here listening to me, the most you want is to serve God with all your heart and all your mind and all your soul and all your heart. And because of this, you're so focused on giving. We need to find the most clever, creative, effortless ways to regenerate with the right wisdom and discernment in place so that you can keep on giving, because the world needs you, a regenerate and resourceful you. And if you don't know me, I'm Dr. Ioana Popa from Team for the Soul. I'm a psychiatrist, physician by background, but also trained in spiritual care, in life coaching, and also in theology. And I've trained as in internal family systems, psychosynthesis, and many modalities. And I've been fascinating how to find the fastest ways that I can help others and I can help myself so that we can be the best for Christ. So with that, let's dive in. So in medical school, I had to learn, obviously, so many subjects. There are so many topics. You get really in depth. And in the same time, when I came to United States, I had to go again through all the exams, now this time in English, and they're all multiple choice and days and days and days of exams and questioning. And just as an aside note, they've changed the system right around when I came in United States, and I had to do all the exams another time. So I really had to go through the medical knowledge 3 times in my life, twice in English, to be able to really grasp everything and be able to make decisions really quickly, because I'm telling you, the American exams are very thorough, very, very thorough, very clever, very intelligent. Anyway, long story short, having to go again through the entire medical knowledge the second time, I was at an impasse because all of a sudden the tests were not orally how they were in Romania. You just pick a topic and you just go from the A to Z all the way for step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. American tests are not the same. You actually have to They put a situation in front of you and you have to retrieve the information from so many perspectives really quickly. So I've realized that I cannot study the usual way. So I remember my math teacher. So, and my experience with sleeping on it. So what did I do? I would study for hours and hours and then take a power nap. And in that power nap, actually, before the nap, I will go through the entire material, send my subconscious the message, and I would try to recreate everything that I've learned in my inner universe. So mentally, for example, I would learn about a particular part of the body. I would spend hours to recreate all the in 3 dimension, in 3D. We didn't have back then, all the 3D and computerized layers available nowadays for medical students. So I had to recreate that all in my mind. That served me so well. And I would do that for a little bit. But once I got into the habit of it, I would pause and I would go to sleep. And when I went to sleep, all this will get into another part of my brain, which I'm going to talk about it today. So later, it didn't matter what kind of questioning came to me, I would know the answers implicitly. Now, this is powerful because God created our brain in such a powerful way, and we don't always put it to work. Yes, it does take a bit of effort at the beginning to really try to internalize all this and get to the wisdom. But once we train our subconscious in the way I've just described in medical school, how I did it, you can actually tap into this power at the fingertips, and that wisdom comes up spontaneously. God, I'm just amazed how God created our brain in such amazing ways. And listen, you might not be interested in science. Okay, no problem. But whatever topic you're interested in, you could spend some time visualizing and entering inside. Now, why am I saying all this? Because I am on a mission to help and support Christian professional women in such a way that we can continue to give to others. We can continue to support, nourish, lead our communities in such ways while we can regenerate. So my program, The Renewal in Action, I build it in such a way that I guide the participants and my students step by step from inquiry, discovery to visualization in such a way that at the end of the journey, my students have a blueprint that is already embedded internally, like how I share to you how I internalize the inner body, like the vessels, the bones, the muscles, all that. So by the end, it's actually embodied and the blueprint is becoming organic. Now, you might think, oh, I don't want to spend hours and hours and hours to do that. You don't. In the Renewal in Action program, actually, the process only takes about 4 to 6 hours a month. At the beginning, it's a bit more intense, but then I know how our motivation works. Every module usually it's less and less intense. So there's 6 modules in the program. Anyway, the reason I'm saying this is that there is a way, and I want to encourage you to consider this, that daily regenerations done in a very thoughtful way can make your life so much easier and it can improve the quality of life. So the problem that I see nowadays with lots of the self-care programs is they teach, do it for a concentrated amount of time every day, particular length, but then you have to take care of your body. Then you have to take care of your nutrition, have to take care of emotion and your thoughts and so on. And it's like the list keeps going on and on and on. And especially when the seasons are changing and your schedule might be changing, all of a sudden, there's no more resilience. There's no more capacity to give because we have to give to others so much. So the solution is to think of small changes every day. It becomes really paramount. And the brain function that we're using this way, it's the default network in our brain. Thus, any ritual that you do requires eventually small effort from you. You get to train your subconscious. And if you think about it, well, I don't know about this. Well, it's the same thing as we're brushing our teeth, driving the car on autopilot, doing all the chores and repetitive tasks as we're at work. This is how we engage this part of our brain, the default brain network. And you can do the same, body, mind, heart, and soul, in an aligned and holistic way that won't require a lot of time from you, because I know time is the most precious thing that you have. So the concept that I want to bring today is called the default mode network. Not the entire scientific community is really in synchronicity about this. There's still a lot to discover, but this concept has been around since 1970s and has been put on the map in 2000 by scientists that published a series of articles. And because they discovered there are brain regions that light up when we are at rest. Now, that in itself can take hours and hours of discussion, but what I want you to remember is this idea that we have parts in our brain that are active when our mind is passive, when it's at rest, and it's called a default mode network. So this default network has brain regions that usually are naturally active during moments where other part of our brain is not active, or when we have passive moments, so to speak. This is explaining probably also the process of daydreaming. We just stay in silence and all of a sudden our brain does its thing, or we go to sleep and we consolidate our learning. This is proven research. So although this network is difficult to show and difficult to research, is nonetheless looked on, especially when it's not working, and how it's impacting maybe depression, how it's impacting psychosis. But most of the time, this network is functioning. So even if you're busy thinking of something else, or you are actually maybe sleeping or thinking of nothing, this network is processing information. And this might explain why maybe you're taking a shower or you're driving and all of a sudden you remember something or you get glimpses of insights. So bottom line, don't think that you're learning only when you are thinking and learning. Be aware that you can send an intention to yourself to solve a problem, to find unexpected pockets of regeneration and renewal in ways that you don't know. And as you send that intention, the answers and the solutions will come up. Of course, as Christians, I think this is God at work. And God works in this mysterious way. So I want you to try that and trust that. So with that, I will end with a prayer. Dear God, thank you so much for the way you created our brain. It's just so amazing. I am astonished. And the more I've learned from science, the scientific discoveries, it just explains so much about how you designed us all for your glory. May we continue and you bless the listener to move from glory to glory and continue to regenerate and renew with a full focus to move closer to you, Christ, and become one with you. And I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. May you be blessed, and I hope to see you next week. Take care.